Thought for today's episode that I would share my journey on how I became an injector, because it's really funny and a lot of people don't believe me, but I actually did not want to be an injector initially. That is not what I went to school for. I went to school to be an ER nurse. So the fact that I am here talking to you guys on a podcast today about injecting, and I am a national speaker, a national trainer, and injecting is literally my obsession. It's my only hobby. It's my life. It's just so funny. So I wanted to share with you guys how it all started from the beginning. Hi everyone, welcome to the Perfect Dose podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kristen Herzog, board certified nurse practitioner and injection specialist. We are officially back from Europe, and you guys, I swear I am still on Europe time, and I'm also still eating like I'm in Italy. It's actually quite disgusting. I think I'm living off of sourdough bread as my main food group right now. So we are working on that, trying to hone in my diet again before the holidays, because if not, I'm going to be in trouble. We also got bikes, and this has been really fun because in the mornings we are biking to the grocery store to go get sourdough bread, which is problematic, especially since I need to stop eating so much sour bread. But it's been really fun. I told Steven this morning, I'm like, I feel like we're in the olden days, biking to the store, getting bread, putting it in our little baskets, biking back. And Steven got this really cool little adapter for his bike. So baby Jax just gets to sit in the front seat, and he is obsessed, you guys. When I say obsessed, I seriously mean it. Like, he will literally look at the bikes and go, bike? Like, he wants to just bike all the time. So that's been really fun. But coming back has been really exciting because I realized how much I am just obsessed with injecting and how much I missed working. Being gone was so fun. It was an amazing experience. Traveling with a baby was definitely challenging, but so much fun. And I'm just really excited to be back. So I thought for today's episode that I would share my journey on how I became an injector. So I want to start by sharing that success doesn't happen overnight. It is something that happens after lots of discipline, lots of consistency, tons of hard work. So many people see success and they're like, oh my gosh, she's so lucky. How did she do that? But nobody saw all of the steps that it took to get there. So I'm going to share with you guys everything that I did and how I started injecting in the first place. This all started back in 2018. I went to school. I graduated in 2015 from nursing school, and I went straight into the ER. And I was like trauma ER obsessed. If there was gunshot wounds, if there was any critical care patients, any broken legs, anything like that, I was your girl. Trauma was my thing. I loved the ER, so that's what I went to school for. I knew that I wanted to get into emergency room nursing because I love challenges. I am somebody that's like, give me a challenge. I love something that puts me out of my comfort zone. I love new and exciting. So the ER was just absolutely the perfect fit for me. So I started working in the ER in 2015. I was an ER nurse for 3 years. Well, I was an ER nurse total for 5 years, but 3 years before I started injecting. So I was working in the ER, and I just had this moment where I was like, you know what? I feel like I love the ER, but I'm ready for the next level. At this point, I was already certified in trauma. I had gotten my ACLS certification, like every certification that you can get in the ER, I had already gotten, and I felt really great. I just felt like this wasn't the end for me. That's the only way I could explain it. Like, the ER just felt like it was a stepping stone to the next level. So I didn't know at that point what else I wanted to do. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go to nurse practitioner school, because I can go to nurse practitioner school, and from there, I can decide what's next. And maybe that is a nurse practitioner for the ER. Maybe that's family nurse practitioner. I had no idea. I just knew that I wanted to do something else. So I started signing up for NP school. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And around that time, I also had decided to get Botox. And it's funny because I was always the nurse in the ER. People like would look at me and they wouldn't think I was smart. Like I was always super girly, super funny. I loved skincare. I loved anything beauty. I loved e-news, like celebrity gossip. I loved all of those things. So I was not like your typical ER nurse at all. And most people didn't take me seriously when they first met me because I'm like, hi, I'm Kristen and I'm super bubbly. And they're just like, who is this girl? Can she even do anything? So people were always super surprised when they actually started talking to me and worked with me in the ER with how smart I was, because I was really smart and nobody just saw that when they first met me because of my personality. So it wasn't surprising that I wanted to get Botox. So I'm like, okay, I have these wrinkles in my forehead. I think it's time to try Botox. And one of my ER coworkers had just gotten Botox. She also was an injector, so she did Botox. And I was like, okay, I need to come see you. I want to get Botox for the first time. So I go to get Botox and I remember getting it done. And right afterwards, I FaceTimed my mom. And my mom at this point had never, ever been injected with anything before. And I FaceTimed her and I had all these like bumps on my forehead. And if you've gotten Botox, you know, you have bumps on your forehead for like 30 minutes afterwards because of the normal saline that is reconstituted in Botox. So it leaves these like Botox bumps, for lack of better words, anywhere that you've been injected, and then they go away. So if you've never seen them before, you probably have never looked in the mirror immediately after injections. And if you have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but they're like little bumps. And so I just got injected. I FaceTimed my mom and she was like, oh my God, what did you do? You look like a lizard. What are you doing to yourself? And I was like, I just spent $800 on Botox. And she like almost died because I had just spent $800, which is a ton of money. She had no idea why I was getting Botox. I was like 21 at the time, so I was super young. And she was just yelling at me not to be so vain. But at this point, I'm like so excited, not even listening to my mom. I think these Botox bumps are like absolutely hilarious. And fast forward 2 weeks later, my face is frozen and I am obsessed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like Elsa. Like I loved that my brows could not move. And the amount of Botox that I got was a lot because like you would not be able to tell what I was thinking at that time. If I was mad, if I was sad, I had one facial expression and I thought it was the best thing ever. I was obsessed. So that is really where it started. And I remember after like my second or third time getting injected with Botox, I had gone somewhere else. It was like this random place. And I remember looking up like what's like the cheapest Botox I can find, because you have to think, I know nothing right now, right? And I had also just started nurse practitioner school and I was working in the ER, paying my way through nurse practitioner school. So I was broke. Like I shouldn't have even been looking up cheap Botox. I should have been saving my money, not spending it on Botox. But here I am and I'm like, okay, I need to go get Botox. So I found this place and I remember sitting in the chair with this doctor and she was injecting me. And I was like, I have this quotation mark that's on my right brow. Is there something we can do to fix that? And she said, no, there's nothing we can do to fix that. You can't get Botox there or we're going to drop your brow. And I remember asking her why, and I just kept questioning it, and she really couldn't tell me. She just kept repeating, we just don't inject Botox there. So, of course, being the person that I am, I go home and I start studying anatomy. And I was thinking, okay, I need to know the why. I want to understand why you can't put Botox there. Or maybe you can put Botox there. This person just doesn't know how to do it. I needed to understand everything. So it was from that point on that I decided I needed to pursue injecting. I felt like I had found something challenging. I had no idea that injectables were challenging until I started really digging deep into facial anatomy. And I thought to myself, this is so cool. This is what I need to be doing. I need to be doing something that I love, which is making people feel good. I love skincare. I love beauty. I love inspiring confidence, but I also need something that challenges me and allows me to really critically think, because that was very important to me. I love to critically think. It's still important to me. That's why I'm always continuing my education. So I, from that point on, realized that injectables was actually challenging. And I just decided, okay, I'm going to be an injector. And I'm a very impulsive person, you guys. It is so wild the way my brain works, but it doesn't take a lot for me to make a decision. Once I make a decision, I am on it. Like, I don't need time to think. It's not an idea that I have that I'm like, oh, maybe I'll be an injector. It's like the second I decide to be an injector, I'm going to be an injector. Game on. So the next day, I started looking up courses because I needed to get certified in injectables. So I'm like, okay, I need to get certified. How am I going to do this? So I was looking through every single course and I wanted to find the best, most comprehensive course so that I could get the best learning. So I ended up finding a course with a doctor and he certified people to be an injector. So I thought, okay, this is a really great thing because it's not just a class like National Laser Institute, which is an amazing course. I am not bashing that course by any means, but it just wasn't catering to specific needs. I'm like, okay, you get certified, but then what? Can I have hands-on experience? Do I get a mentor? Who am I going to communicate once I get certified in this? What do I do next? Am I just released off into the world? Like, what are next steps? So I felt like taking the course with this doctor felt more personalized for me, and it felt like I was just going to get a better experience. So I signed up for the course. And I go to his office. I'm super excited. When I took this course, and this was in 2018, it was so funny because I remember he hands me this book and he's like, okay, you can go hang out in this room and study this book. And then I'm going to come back to get you. And then we'll go over injectables. So I'm like, okay, great. So I start reading this book. I'm reading through everything. I felt a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm trying to absorb just everything I can. And then he comes to get me and he's like, okay, patients are here. You're going to come shadow me for the whole day. And then I'll teach you how to inject. So the day goes on and I am just so excited to be there. I'm like, this is so much fun. I'm asking so many questions. I'm watching him inject. I'm watching him talk to patients. I'm watching him assess their face. I'm watching him choose products and inject people differently. So I'm just getting more and more excited. And at the end of the course, I get to inject and then he certifies me. So I'm like, okay, I'm certified. Now what? And he was like, well, if you want to, you can come in on the weekends and bring some friends and inject them and I'll give you feedback. And I feel like he just didn't know the type of person that I am. He probably does this often and people maybe don't come at all, or maybe they come once, bring a couple friends and that's it. But I was like green light. So I literally showed up in his office. I'm telling you guys, I was there every single weekend. I was bringing all my friends, any ER nurse that I knew, anybody from college, anybody in MP school. I was bringing everybody and I was like, come get injected. So I would inject them and he would critique me and give me feedback. And I did this for months. And I don't know why he just never made me stop coming in because I was just coming in like on repeat, but he did teach me so much and it was so amazing. And at this point, so I get my certification. I'm in nurse practitioner school at the same time. I'm also working in the ER. So I am doing nothing but learning how to be a nurse practitioner, learning how to be an injector, and also working night shifts in the ER so that I could inject during the day so that I could still go to NP school and do my clinicals. So I was working a mid shift for the most part. I would work like 1-to-1 or 2-to-2 or 3-to-3. So they were 12-hour shifts. And this was my life, you guys, for a couple years. It wasn't until 2021 that I graduated NP school and I officially stopped working in the ER for 2020. So there were 2 years that I was hustling. I was working ER, I was in NP school, and I was learning how to be an injector. And what I did, and this is such a funny, crazy move, but I just was so determined to be the best. And for those of you who know me, my personality is always like, okay, I don't want to just be an injector. I want to be the best injector. I want to be somebody that everybody goes to. So I wanted to learn. So I started saving up all of my money. So any penny that I made from the ER after school was paid for, after my basic needs were paid for, it was going to learning how to be an injector. And that first year I spent $30,000 training, and I trained with top injectors. I was doing private trainings. I was doing shadowing. I was basically doing any and every training. Steven and I are obsessed with skiing. And so like on our ski trips on the flights, I was watching cadaver courses. And I remember him being like, Kristen, this is disgusting. Nobody on the plane wants to see dead people's faces being dissected. Like, what are you doing? And so I was just constantly learning, constantly training. And I became so obsessed with being so great that eventually I became really great. And I remember meeting one of my Galderma reps who is one of my biggest mentors now. And I was like, one day I'm going to be a trainer. I'm going to be a trainer for your company. And he was like, okay, Kristen, great. And then 3 years later, I am a trainer for his company. And I'm actually a trainer now for multiple companies. I get to speak and train other injectors. And I'm so passionate about it because it is because of amazing trainers that I got to exactly where I am. So I love training. I love giving back to my community. So I want to share with you guys a little bit now about how I actually started Perfect Dose. So I've talked about how I started in the ER, took a course, became obsessed, spent all my money on training, and decided to start Perfect Dose. And it was funny because, again, another impulsive decision. I remember calling my dad and I was like, okay, I really want to be an injector. I want to start my own business because at the time, this was 2018, fast forward to where we are today, there are so many med spas, so many opportunities, so many places that you can work now. In 2018, it wasn't as popular. So I didn't know really what to do. I just knew that I wanted to inject and start my business. So I started Perfect Dose. I called my dad and I asked him for a loan. I was like, okay, I'm going to need a loan and I'm also withdrawing my 401k. And he's like, what? And I told him, I'm like, I really want to do this. This is going to be the best thing ever. I know I can do this. So he was thinking I was insane, but he gave me the loan. And also I withdrew my 401k. And I spent all the money I made in the ER on training. And even with this is what allowed me to start Perfect Dose. And I was with Steven at the time. So he was like, okay, I'm going to pay for rent and groceries. You just build Perfect Dose, build your business. And so that's what I did. I bootstrapped my entire business. So I literally just every penny that I made, it went back to my business. So for the first couple years, I literally made no profit because my money went to paying back my dad, my money went to investing into my business, and then my money went into paying for more training. So it was years until I actually made a profit in my business. And I think that's so important to understand because, again, success doesn't come easy. And at first, when you're getting into this industry or when you're getting into any industry and you're starting your own business, you're doing something new, you cannot get into it for the money because the money does not come easy. It doesn't come for a long time. So I'm here to tell you, it was years. So 2020 came around and this was when I had saved up enough money. I'd paid back my parents at this point, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to graduate from my salon suite because I started in a salon suite. And if you're listening and you've been my patient since the salon suites, you know those were humble beginnings. That's where I started, you guys. I was passing out business cards at the mall. My sister designed my first website. So it was like literally made by my sister who's really tech savvy. So she made my website. I made my business cards online. I printed them off, passed them out at the mall. I had just started my Instagram and I was like, well, I don't have any money for marketing, so I'm going to post on Instagram. So that's what built my business is Instagram. I just started posting anything and everything. And I actually wasn't good at Instagram. I was horrible at Instagram. If I watch some of my videos, they are so cringe, you guys. It's like me super nervous, super anxious, talking slow. So Instagram is a learned skill. It did not come easy. If you find some of these old videos from when I first started my Instagram, you're going to be like, is that even Kristen? Because A, that doesn't look like her. If you've seen my before and after, Injectables have literally changed my life, and my confidence and just overall who I am has just evolved so much. So it's really cool to see that journey. But 2020, here we are. And I had just started my upgraded business. So it was this 1,300 square foot building in Old Town. And I had a very small budget to work with as far as decorating it and everything. So I remember my mom flew in and she was like, okay, let's do this. We'll decorate it together. We decorated my entire place on a $5,000 TJ Maxx budget. And it looked so cute. You guys, I remember getting this painting. I still have it in my office today. And I actually have a second one in my bathroom now. But it was my lips. I had found somebody on Instagram and he painted lips. So I'm like, this is what's going to go in my office. So I sent him a selfie of myself and he painted my lips in rainbow color. And that was like right when you walked in, front and center of my office. That was Perfect Dose. And my first employee ever was actually my roommate's girlfriend. She is the first person I ever hired just to come help me at the front. And the only reason she even started working for me was because, of course, when I started this business, you guys, I had been injecting since 2018. But when I actually upgraded into that 1,300 square foot place from my salon suite, that was when I was like, okay, I need somebody else on my team. So I consider that the start of Perfect Dose, even though really I started in 2018. That was when it became more of a business, not just my Instagram persona. So I hired her because it was 2020 March. I had just signed my lease when they started running out of toilet paper in the grocery stores. So that was very scary. And thank gosh, injectables are a need, not a want. And it was okay. I survived. And at that time, I was driving skincare to my clients' houses. So I'm like, okay, I have to be closed, but I'm going to keep working and I'm going to make sure that this business is successful and that it works. So I did that. Then we're finally able to open back up and it was so amazing. And I just focused on good results and more training. So I just continued to, again, at this point, I was starting to make money, not a lot of money, but I was starting to make money because I was still putting a ton of money into my trainings, but I was starting to make a profit finally and just focusing on giving patients outcomes, giving them results. That's all I cared about. I was like, I just want you to look amazing. So that is what started my business. And fast forward, here we are. It was 2023. We had literally grown out of my old location. And what I mean is like we were numbing people in the break room. So it started as just me with my roommate's girlfriend working the front desk. And then we hired our first esthetician. And then I brought on my first injector. And then the business just continued to grow into something that I couldn't even dream of. And we moved into our new location now, which is absolutely amazing and beautiful. It is double the size. It is like a dream come true. We moved into that space in 2023. And so we've been in there for over a year now. We had our first 1 year open house in May. So we are about a year and a half in, and I have so many more goals. I am bringing on functional medicine to Perfect Dose. I want to continue to grow and expand. And it started with just wanting to challenge myself and be an injector and make people feel good to now turning into this amazing business that is so representative of who I am, which is somebody that wants to give back. That is why I became a nurse in the first place. I love to help people. And I also am a very authentic person. So everything I do correlates with my life. I'm on this wellness journey right now. So it is not surprising that now I'm bringing wellness into Perfect Dose. Perfect Dose is part of who I am, and it's so representative of that. So just so exciting. My advice for anybody listening right now, no matter what you want to do, you can't count on anybody believing in you but you. And if you believe in yourself, you can do amazing things. If you have a vision, if you have a dream, start now. It is not going to be perfect, you guys, and nobody gets to success without lots of hard work. It's like going to the gym, right? I hate going to the gym. I work out almost every single day. It is a priority in my life. I love how I feel afterwards. I love how working out makes me look, how it makes me feel. But I do not like waking up at the crack of dawn and actually working out. I wish I could skip that and just be naturally skinny, but I can't. And it's the same thing with anything that you do in life. If you love the outcome, and for me, that is making people feel good. That is building my brand so that anybody walking in a Perfect Dose can come in and know that they are going to get the best experience. They're going to walk into their best friend's house. They're going to leave with a Louis Vuitton bag. They are going to feel amazing. They're going to be confident that they are getting results backed by science, that they are in trusted, trained hands when they're getting injected, because this is medicine. It's a serious thing. So I take that very seriously. And that is my why. That is my outcome. Did I love staying up late at night designing my own website? No. Did I love my little salon suite and decorating it from TJ Maxx? No. But I loved where I knew I was going. So if you have a dream, don't be afraid to pursue it. And just remember that everybody has small and humble beginning. I started in the salon suite. I worked my butt off, and now I am in this amazing big space, which I love. And next year I will hopefully be in a completely different place. Every single year, I'm going to continue to grow and continue to make an impact, and my journey will never be perfect. It will never be easy, but it is always going to get me to exactly where I want to be. So thank you for tuning in today's episode. I will see you guys next week.